Speeding up. This one sucks. I just read it. I have to read it again. It's a good chapter, but I just read it and I have to read it again. Okay, I deleted it. Okay. There were a baker's dozen thoughts whipping through Alex's head when Mr. Today asked him and Miss Morning if they were ready to take over Arteme. His first thought, no! His second, well, it's only for a short time. His third, no, no, no! His fourth, at least he's putting the gate up. His fifth, absolutely no way! And so on and so forth, all the way to 13. The good news was that Alex was obviously maturing to the point where he didn't have to say all these things out loud in order to process them. That was a relief for all involved. And in a strange little way, it gave him some confidence in himself. The bad news was that Alex's stomach churned, and he very nearly felt lightheaded at the thought of something going horribly wrong. So much that he had to resist the urge to stand and leave the room. We're in good shape, Father, aren't we, Alex? Miss Morning gave Alex a look that told him exactly what to say. Oh, fine shape, Alex said, his voice cracking under the pressure of her stare. Good, said Mr. Today, practically giddy. Cimber, Florence, Octavia, and all of your friends will, of course, be on hand for whatever you may need. I expect things will go on quite as they do when I am present. You truly won't even notice I'm gone. Arteme is a well-oiled machine, and if anything should happen, you know how to fight and how to read. I've given you every command I can think of, and both the library and museum of Large hold additional clues that I'm sure will help you, should you be attacked while I'm away. But, he said triumphantly, that won't happen because of the gate. He very nearly hummed with excitement. That sounds lovely, Father. Alex gulped and nodded. I'll gather some of the students and we'll make you a takeaway lunch for tomorrow. How exotic, Miss Morton said. We'll pack up the boat tonight with every supply you could possibly need, so you'll be all ready in the morning. Mr. Today beamed with happiness. Delightful! Simply a dream. His eyes grew moist for a moment. Well, we will be out exploring on serious business. I must tell you, Alex, getting away is something I've longed to do since the walls went up. I've never felt more confident than I do now that Arteme will be in the best hands with you and Claire. He reached out and took Alex's hand, shaking it solemnly. Thank you. Alex wanted to say, but I don't know how to run this place. He wanted to say, there's so much you haven't explained. He wanted to say, please don't go. Please don't go. Instead, he did his best to smile confidently. He reached out and hugged the old man, patting his back quite hard a few times in the embrace. Mr. Today chuckled, the laugh rattling soundly in his chest. Finally, Alex came up with what he thought were the perfectly grown-up words to say. He released the embrace, looked at the mage. I hope you find everything you are looking for, sir. Thank you for believing in me. He smiled and some of his jitters went away. Mr. Tay nodded solemnly. Never forget, my boy. I chose you for this. There will always be times we struggle. We make bad decisions, even fail. What's important is not that we fail, but that we learn and grow, and that we know that there is always someone out there who believes in us. Alex nodded. Mr. Today continued. Whatever problems you may face, you must know this. I do believe in you. Alex nodded, eyes shining, not trusting his voice to speak. He looked down at the ground, a smile forcing its way to his lips, feeling proud and sheepish at the same time. He stepped back as if to escape from the strong circle of emotion that surrounded Mr. Today, and as his leader continued to gaze proudly at him, Alex finally said, Okay. It's just a few days. Sheesh. Miss Morning and Mr. Today's voices pealed in laughter throughout the office and down the mostly secret hallway. The man wiped the mist from his eyes. Well said indeed. With a mischievous glance, he said, Come, let's go create a gate and tell Arteme of our plans. We'll put a big crown on your head so the necessaries know whom to bother with their trifles while I'm gone. This time it was Alex who laughed. When Mr. Today called all of Arteme to a meeting on the lawn to explain the reasons for the newly reinstated gate and his impending absence, Alex gazed out at the crowd of people. Such good people here in Arteme. Even the former necessaries, who were struggling to fit in and help out. He looked around from face to face, unable to tell the difference between the groups. As he looked, he began to search for his friends, wishing he'd had a chance to give them the scoop before the rest of Arteme heard. But he grew troubled when he noticed from his place next to Mr. Today that his three closest friends were nowhere to be found. It was strange. He scanned the audience more carefully and realized there were a few others missing too, like Sean Ranger and Eva Fathom. Suddenly, something seemed terribly dot, dot, dot